and I never got a Kratz home run call.
I'm from Milwaukee, and I ought to know. It's Kratz, 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 wherever you go.
Ooh, a really cozy looking atmosphere there. John Sterling joining us right now on the show. John, great to have you on. You hear us good?
Well, it's my pleasure, of course.
Yeah, well, great to have you on. How are you? How is retirement life treating you?
Well, life's treating me great. All I do is go to all these dinners. I keep getting honored, and you know what? I can't understand why. I've done nothing right. Anyway, that's what I've been doing in November, going to a lot of the dinners.
John, before we dig into what a great career you have, you might be getting honored now, but when we played against the Yankees, you were probably the most made fun of person in the world, because every time we would beat the Yankees, everybody would go, "The Yankees lose! The Yankees lose!" Yes, we get to hear him not say that. So listen, we are very excited that you had a great career, but as a former ex-player that never got to play against the Yankees, when I didn't have to hear you, it was like, thank you. And, I didn't have to hear you make the home run calls. I didn't have to make you do any of that stuff. So it was an honor.
Well, thank you. Actually, I'd come out of ballparks after the Yankees would lose, and there would be people who would say, Yankees lose. Bah, Yankees lose. So I think I understand that. I accept that.
Kratz, did you get a home run call from Sterling?
I haven't, John. This is the thing. So I have a few regrets in my playing days. One is I never hit a triple, but the other one is I never hit a home run for the Yankees. I played there in 2017, got 2 at-bats, and then 2020, and I never got a Kratz home run call from John Sterling. And everybody said, well, he planned it. If you're on the team, he planned it. So I have to know, what would my home run call have been?
I really don't know, but I would have done something on Kratz. I'm from Milwaukee, and I ought to know. It's Kratz, 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 wherever you go. Obviously, the beer was Blatz, but that's just
That's good.
But I mean, I haven't worked on it. Let me work on it, please, and then hit a home run.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Of course. Or
Perfect.
Kratz, maybe he was like, I don't really have to.
He's like, I don't got to worry about Kratz hitting a homer, so he probably didn't hit one.
Well,
which one was your favorite one? That's what I want to know. Which one was your favorite home run call that you came up with associated with one of the Yankee players? Which one was maybe not your favorite? Which was the one that hit or your favorite, and then the one you think resonated with the fans the most?
Well, I'll give you 2, and these 2 I actually made up while it was going on, and the words happened to hit me, and I think they were the most requested. I really don't know, but anyway, one of them is for Alex Rodriguez, and A-bomb from A-Rod, and the other would be Robbie Cano, don't you know? And they both came up while they were doing something.
I like it.
If that
I like
makes
it. It was
any
more
sense.
natural. It
yeah,
was more. No, it was more natural that way. You didn't think.
Famous.
That's why. You know what? That's why you never came up with a Kratz one, because the moment never hit you, John. So you never had to be like, man, that Kratz just shats on that ball.
No, it never hit me.
Hey, John, we had Dave Sims on this past Friday, and of course he was incredibly complimentary of you. Have you had the chance to speak with him since he accepted the job? And what advice would you give him for working with the legendary broadcaster Susan Waldman, who is also a regular guest on this show, and we love her dearly?
Well, it's very easy for Dave. Dave and I have been friends since the 70s, when he was writing for the Daily News and I was broadcasting the New Jersey Nets out of Piscataway. And Dave and Susan are good friends, very good friends. So they'll have no problems at all. And I don't give advice. I mean, I broadcast the way I broadcast by the seat of my pants. I also live life that way by the seat of my pants. So I would tell Dave Sims or anyone else who does that job, just be yourself, sell yourself on the air, and people will listen to it.
Did you listen to any games this summer? And if you did, was it weird?
No, it wasn't weird. The games are the easiest thing I do by far. But one thing, Eric, I will tell you, I did the last 6 games of the year. They were at home. And then I went on the road, of course, for the playoffs. And one thing I told myself in the trips to Kansas City and Cleveland and Los Angeles, I told myself firmly, no more traveling. And I guarantee I will not travel. If I have to go in the area, Philly, Baltimore, Washington, Boston, I'll go in a car. I don't mind that at all. I sit in the back and read. So, but one thing I know is I'm not traveling anymore.
Will you do Yankee home games then? What if they call you and say, "Hey, John, we want you to do 10 games this year"? Is that something you would
Well,
do then?
if they said 10 games, I would do it. But, that would be like, one a week when they're at home. I guess I would do that. But I really, AJ, I don't want to go to work anymore. I mean,
Understood.
if
Understood.
I have
But you could.
if I have a talk show, which I might, depends, and it hits February 1st, which is only 2 months, 2.5 months away. I'm on the air February 1st, 2025. I will get a big kick out of that because I then will have been on the air 65 years. And when you're on 65 years, it's amazing. And I was there. So, but that's as little as I would want to. That's as much as I'd want to do a game a week.
Yeah, you could be like the special Sunday fill-in. You could be like Joe Buck or, Tony Romo or Tom Brady. Just works on Sundays.
Yeah, that's true.
Joe Buck works on Mondays. John Sterling does Sundays. Everyone tunes in to hear the great John Sterling only on Sundays. And then, Susan could take the day off. Dave could take the day off. Man, they'd be like, man, this is great. We'll just let John do that. He'd be the Vince Scully.
Well, actually, that sounds very good. And again, if I was the other guy, I would like it because I'd get a day off. But in baseball, there aren't what am I telling you guys for? There aren't a whole lot of many days off, maybe 2 or 3 a month.
That's true. John, what'd you think of the team this year? I mean, I love, by the way, I loved when you're like, they run the bases like they're drunk, which was unbelievable to me because it kind of was the way they did run the bases on you. But you kind of nailed that.
At that point, they were. The odd thing, and it really tells you what a good job Booney did. It's not a great team. There are a lot of holes in that team, and yet they finished with the best record in the American League. And if they had played a little bit cleaner, which they should have, I think they would have flown back to L.A. with a 3-2 lead. But obviously that didn't happen. So, but, really it was a terrific year for a team that, really had a lot of holes in it.
He's right. You're right. That's why the Dodgers came out and said what they said.
Yeah.
Joe Kelly and some of them, hey, we knew we were going to beat them because we knew if we put the ball in play, they'd make enough mistakes to where we'd eventually screw it up. And sadly for you, John, they did. So how many World Series rings do you have? I see you have one on. So how many actual World Series rings do you have?
5.
Do you wear all 5 at once? You put 5 on one hand and just walk up to dinner and you don't even say anything. You just walk in like this with all of them?
No. No. I wear one, and the others are somewhere in my closet, one of my closets. And I have a lot of a great memorabilia for someone who does not collect at all in any way, shape, or form. But, all the Emmys from Yankeeography and the different Hall of Fames. And anyway, I have a lot of that stuff. And one day I'm going to have someone come up and give me an appraisal for it because, frankly, all those things do are collect dust. They're in a corner of the living room and they collect dust. That's all.
So do you see it as junk? Do you see that? Do you see all that stuff as junk? Because other people see that as incredible memorabilia of a long journey of a career.
Yeah, Eric. I think I got this thought because Vince Scully did that near the end of his long career. I think he sold all of his memorabilia. I don't know if I will do that or not, but if you think that it depends on the person you are and what's important to you. And it doesn't really do anything for me. As I said, it just sits there and collects dust.
Hey, John, you gave us that little hint that, let's say you're not doing the AJ plan of calling the Sunday games, that you would still like to keep the voice going. So on broadcast, right? So what would be the ideal thing that you would do now, in your semi-retired life? Do you want to potentially you're talking about like talk radio kind of situation?
Yeah, I would do a talk show once a week.
Okay.
That's after I quote unquote retired, my general manager, Chris Olivero, said to me, why don't you go do a talk show on Saturday or Sunday? Because the fans didn't have a chance to say goodbye to you. And I came in, did the show. I've been doing talk shows forever. I mean, I started when they first worked out the phone system where they could delay the call 7 seconds. And that was in the mid-'60s. Boy, that's a long time ago. Anyway, I think that's what I would do. One talk show a week would be just about my speed. Like what AJ was thinking about, doing one game a week on a Sunday. I would do that.
Perfect. All right, John, I have to ask, you mentioned Yankeeography. Okay, as a visiting player, we would come in batting practice. There's no music when you go to Yankee Stadium, right? They run Yankeeography while you're taking BP. It's like Yankeeography, Eric Kratz. Yes, he hit no homers, but we're going to tell you why he was a great top 20 Yankee. And you're like, can we not get Yankeeography? So now that you're retired, who's going to bore the crap out of the visiting teams while they're hitting?
I don't know, but you hit on something that's pretty good. When the Red Sox came in 2004, having won the final 2 games of the 3 in Boston, and Kevin Millar, who's a very wordy fellow, as you know, he said, I can't stand hitting to Yankeeography. We're going to hit inside. And, of course, they won the final 2 games and came from 3-0 down. So you're not the only one who didn't like hitting to Yankeeography.
That's tremendous. So essentially, it was John Sterling's Yankeeography that caused the Red Sox to come back and win that series.
Yes, I guess you could say that if you want to find someone else to point
someone
the
else
finger at.
Wait.
Someone else
Kratz,
to blame.
real quick. I'll counter that. It was his Yankeeography that led to so many damn losses until one team finally figured out how to counter that.
That's right.
It worked for so long, and finally they're like, "Can we beat this somehow?"
Yes. I love that. John, what comes to your mind when you think the Rick Camp game?
Well, it was a daffy game. It was delayed by rain in the first 9 innings. And I started with Ernie Johnson on radio. And what we did is we would switch at the end of 4 1/2. Pete Van Weren and Skip Carey opened TV, and they'd go to radio, and we go radio to TV. And little did we know we're going to be on TV for the next 8 hours. And the Mets were a much better team. And they finally got ahead by 3 in the 13th. And a fellow that you won't remember, really nice guy named Terry Harper, he hit the foul pole in left field for a 3-run home run to tie the game, and on it went. And about Rick Camp, I'll give you a good line from Skip Carey. When I was a kid, the giant broadcaster was Russ Hodges, and even though I was a Yankee fan, I loved Russ Hodges. And Russ Hodges, had a lot of sayings, but one of them was that, anyone up there swinging a shillelagh is dangerous. So I did that one day on the air when Rick Camp was up. Rick Camp was the worst hitting pitcher in baseball. And I said, well, as Russ Hodges would say, anyone swinging a shillelagh is dangerous. And Skip said, obviously, he didn't see Rick Camp. Well, so here we go to the 18th inning. The Mets again lead by 3. And Rick Camp, the worst hitter in the world, hits a 3-run home run to tie the game. And I would say that the buzz in the crowd was great, but it was 4 a.m, so there wasn't a lot of crowd. And so that was the Rick Camp story. Now, no one mentions in the 19th inning, he gave up 5 runs. And I went right to the bar with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy and had one for the road, as they say. And that was a heck of a night.
Man, 5 in the morning. By the way, I just want you to know this, John, as someone that grew up in Florida and was a Braves fan, I know who all those people you're talking about are, okay? I mean, I remember Ken Oberkfell, Bob Horner, Rafael Ramirez, Rick Mailer, Rick Camp. I mean, trust me, Steve Bedrosian, Bruce Benedict. I mean, that was like my heyday. So don't say that nobody remembers the names of those guys, because when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, Dale Murphy, those were my guys.
Well, they were my guys too, and I loved doing those games, and they all were really nice guys. Bob Horner, Dale Murphy, and Bruce Benedict, and on and on and on. They all were good guys.
Hey, John, what do you think about the current Juan Soto pursuit? Obviously, this would be by far the most that the Yankees ever spend on a single player. I mean, I think it looks pretty safe that he's going to get himself at least close to $600 million in present day value money. So what do you think after, getting to see him a little bit this past season in pinstripes?
Oh, I wish I was his agent. That's what I think.
That's right.
If it was me, we're all different and we're all our own production. And I'm very pragmatic. So for me, if I really loved the Yankees and I really loved New York and I really loved playing with Aaron Judge, I'd say the difference between $550 million and $650 million really isn't very much. You would be unbelievably rich and you and your family would be protected for the rest of your lives and generations to come. But that's what I would do because I'm very pragmatic. I don't know what Soto has in mind, and I would gather that he and Scott Boras are going to try to, I don't blame them, get the most money they can, and they will. I mean, look at the people involved in this fight. The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers. No, he's going to get a phenomenal contract out of one of them.
What would George do? What would George be doing in this situation if he were still running this team and a player like Juan Soto was available and those other teams that you just said were going after the same, and put on top of that, they just lost the World Series?
Well, I'll bring up the old Irving Berlin song, how deep is the ocean, how high is the sky, how much money can you make? And as I said, I don't know what's in Soto's mind, but I think he and Scott Boras are going to let it play out. And we're going to see a phenomenal final number attached to Soto's name. Now, I'm a Yankee since I was about 7 years old, so obviously I hope he signs with the Yanks.
John, I mean, George let Reggie walk, and he was the straw that stirs the drink. I don't think Soto's the straw, right? I mean, isn't Judge the straw now that stirs that Yankees drink?
Well, AJ, one thing. If you have Soto and Judge in your lineup, for the next 5, 6, 7 years, you're going to be doing very well and making a lot of money. I don't have any idea how much money they make or how much. I do know that baseball and basketball and football and hockey, too, are all doing very well because that's the only reason that people would dole out these phenomenal contracts of 30, 40, 50 million a year. So I gather that the sports are doing fine.
Plus, they got your salary off the book, so they can definitely afford Soto now.
I wish.
Right.
Don't we all? Trust me, don't we all?
That's good.
Well, if I may, I'd like to thank all of you, Scott Braun and AJ Brzezinski and Eric Kratz. Good luck on the show, although your show is pretty good. And my advice, do it from the seat of your pants, and it will be even better. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen, very much. I appreciate it.
I love a great deal, but I'm not going to run sprints in the outfield just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. With Mint Mobile, it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan. Purchase and activation is super easy too.
To get started, go to mintmobile.com/territory. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/territory.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on their first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.